Offering a quiz can bring a lot of insight into your business, and there's multiple ways and reasons why you might want a quiz. One, you could get more personalized information to sell different personality types, one offer, or you can use it to gather information, find out where your customer is in their journey, and then point them to a very specific product that might be different than another person taking the quiz. So I'm excited to talk about this topic. We've got one of the co-founders of Interact here to dive into this topic, and then there's a special announcement at the end that he is revealing that is going to make quiz creation incredibly fast. Yes, you guessed it. We're going to talk about AI, so stick with us. Let's dive into the episode. Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to six figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse, turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. Let's welcome Josh Haynem to the podcast. I'm super excited to have Josh here. He is the co-founder of Interact, the quiz tool used by over 7,000 top businesses around the world. He founded Interact with two friends in college 11 years ago and has grown it to 13 full-time employees and over 1 billion, that's with a B, my friends, quiz takers. Josh, I'm so excited to have you here talking about quizzes. We have a quiz. We use it on Interact. I know you know that. And we get questions a lot about, should I have a quiz? Should that be my lead generating aspect? So I'm excited to dive into this topic. Why quizzes? How can they help us bring in leads? How can they help us personalize, our customer journey and all of that? So we're going to dive in. But first, selfishly, I want to ask you how it is working with partners, because I have a business partner. So I'm like, how is it for you working with, and you're working with two people?
Yeah, that's a great opening question. Thanks for having me on. I very much appreciate it. Working with partners, man, I think this is what I just told a friend the other day, who's also an entrepreneur. I was like, it's about 70% as much work as your primary partner. So I'm engaged, I have a fiance. I would say it's about 70% as much time investment in terms of building those relationships as it is with my primary partner. And that's, I think, the gist of it. Like, if you just accept that and you know that you have to put in the time and have consistency. And luckily, those guys are amazing friends of mine. So it's
Mhm.
a lot easier to do it that way. I think people that come in who don't know each other, obviously that's not your case. So it's like,
Yeah.
when you have the context, it's, I think, much easier, also harder because you actually care about those
Yeah.
people. And if push comes to shove and something was to happen, you'd be really sad about it. So I think it just comes down to like putting in the time, working through things, not letting things fester, just like processing through everything that happens, just like you do in any close relationship.
Yeah, yeah. I like that you compared it to kind of the partnership, like your romantic partnership is what I was alluding to. Um,
Mhm.
because and the investment and how you care, like we're building a business together. And so the success is not only for me, but it's for you. But for those out there listening that don't have a quote, a business partner, it is like you have that same connection with your family, right? Like you're out there trying to build your business to make a better life for your family. And so that investment is with you and your success, but it affects all of the people in your life. So, I like to just kind of think of it in that regards as well. So I love that you brought that up. And then the other thing that I thought about is having a partner gives you that opportunity to bounce ideas off of each other and like poke holes in things. And a lot of people don't have that in a business partner, but I love to bring that aspect to, like, when we have students in our programs, or or these conversations on podcasts, to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and poke holes in situations. So you almost get that partnership, that collaborative effort, even if you don't have a business partner. So y'all, I'm giving you permission to ask questions in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, to reach out to us if you've been thinking about a quiz idea, or these questions come up as we're talking about quizzes. Use us as your business partners today, and whenever you're listening, to get more insight from us. I am not the quiz expert. I would say Josh is the quiz expert, which is why we have you on here to talk about this. So let's just dive into, I don't know where you want to start. If you want to start with, why quizzes, or I really want to talk about the I can't say that word, personalization. There we go, aspect to quizzes. So I'll let you kind of take it over.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I usually avoid that word when I'm making videos because I get stuck.
It's a
And I'm
tongue
like,
twister.
I'm gonna have to do 12 takes on this, so I'm just not gonna say it. Um, yeah, I would say it starts with the concept of what a quiz is. So people really like taking quizzes online. It's funny when I tell people about what Interact is, I say we make personality quizzes, and I pause there because I let them conjure up to mind
Mm,
what's the first thing that comes to their mind when they think about a personality quiz. So it could be everything across the board. Some people are more scientific where they're like, oh, Myers-Briggs or Enneagram. And other people are like, oh, the fun ones, like what Disney character are you? And regardless of which approach you're taking to it, the thing about the quiz is that it is personal. It is something that tells you something about yourself. And there's not really any other forms of marketing that do that. Like, you think about the other traditional lead magnets, you have an ebook or a download or a course that you can enroll in. It's one set curriculum, and that curriculum might be super dialed in and amazing, but people may just miss that it's built for them because, maybe course part two is perfect for one persona, but part one, it's kind of nice, but it doesn't exactly meet where they're at. So what you can do with a quiz is you can go through this whole thing, and then at the end, you're still pointing to the same course for all the outcomes, but for this persona, you're going to highlight part two.
mhm.
And you're able to really just key in on the exact thing that you do that aligns with the needs and expectations of every single person that's coming to you in a way that is individual and personal. And
Yeah.
it's not as individualized as like your Netflix recommendations, but behind the scenes, it's actually using the same logic. It uses the same exact logic trees that go into Netflix or on Amazon when you're shopping, and it tells you, the exact perfect next product based on your previous purchases. It's using the same thing behind the scenes, just very scaled down and simplified for smaller businesses because we don't have billions of dollars to spend building those systems like those big companies do.
Right.
But it's able to do the same exact thing. And you think about how sticky those products are. Like, how sticky is Netflix? Like, every time you log in, it's like, oh wow, that's exactly what I wanted to watch. You can do the same exact thing with a quiz, just simplified and also specifically tailored to your business, your products, and things that you
Yeah.
offer.
I love that. I'm laughing. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing me kind of chuckling over here because my husband will be like, "Stop watching movies on my Netflix channel," because I'll change his whole setup and what it suggests. He's like, "I don't want these romantic movies on."
Mm,
Super personalized. But really, yeah, if you think about it, to get personal, or to have a personalized response to someone, or take them on more of a personalized journey. And that's what we talk about in marketing, right? Is connecting with someone and being able to really speak their language and say things where they're like, oh my gosh, Josh is speaking right to me. Like, how does he know what's going on inside my head? Like, that's the point. And so that's what I think really interested us in having a quiz, is that in order for me to be able to say the things that I know is going to resonate with the person, I have to do, we typically do market research, right? But we do it in like a big pond of people, and we're like, okay, this is what everyone's saying. And then we just kind of create this generalized message that we hope is tailored enough. But what you're saying is the quizzes allow them to answer the questions in a particular way that allow you to really tailor, let's say, those 4 different outcomes that you have based on your personality type, where you can tweak that message on the back end to really, really speak to that person. So whether you really, the fast action taker or the analytical person or the person that just wants to have fun or the person that needs more connection, you can tailor what they see after to speak more deeply to them and connect with them. So that was one of the reasons why we really wanted to create a quiz, besides the fact that it's fun. Like, who doesn't want to do a quiz? So I just thought that would be a really fun way to do lead generation. I'm a sucker for a quiz. Like, I always want to take a quiz. So I was like, if I want to do it, I imagine a lot of other people will. So it's been a fun way to bring leads in another way. And then yeah, I just love having that data on the people coming in, and being able to segment the list. So that's like a whole other topic. But yeah, I love just the concept of quizzes and being able to use it in that capacity for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does a lot of things. It's highly powerful, comparing to other lead magnet options, like that data that you're able to get. You kind of have a whole profile of each person that fills out the quiz, the same way that you do if you run a survey. But unlike a survey, people like to take the quiz, like you said. It's
Mhm.
like people want to take the quiz. It's fun. And in practicality, right? Like the personas that are at the end of the quiz, like the results at the end of the quiz, are simply the personas that you help. Like every business has different types of people that you help with different problems. So you're not coming up with something out of thin air. You're just thinking about like, who are the profiles that I typically am most helpful to? And those become the outcomes of your quiz. And then that's really easy to tie it into your actual products, because you're like, oh, well, when this type of person comes in, I usually point them to this course, or I tell them to listen to this podcast episode to get started. And that's the flow of your quiz. So it's just really breaking down your business. And instead of having one entry point to your business, you can have 4 or 6. And
Mhm.
that just makes a much wider net at the top of your funnel for your business.
Yeah.
And you can capture more people, lower your bounce rates, get more people to opt in, and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay, so are you saying, what I'm kind of gathering is that we could have quizzes do different things, right? So we could have a quiz pointing to one product where we use the results from the quiz to speak differently to those different personality types to sell that one offer. Or we could use a quiz, like there's so many options, right? Or we could use a quiz to maybe see where they are in their journey. I talk about product suites a lot and how you can have a beginning product offer, and then you take your client through this journey and you have different offers. So potentially you could use a quiz to determine maybe where they are in their journey as well. And then, once they get to the end, you're like, okay, they're a beginner. They need to start here, in my sequence of offers. So is that kind of what you're alluding to?
Yeah, 100%. There's really two main ways to use it. So there's one product, multiple use cases, and then there is multiple products, multiple use cases. So if you have one product, like this is how our quizzes work, because we run a
Hmm.
bunch of quizzes for our clients, because you can use Interact, the quiz maker, for lots of different types of businesses. And each of those businesses uses it in a different way. So a very concrete example there is like coaches and course creators versus e-commerce shops. E-commerce
Hmm.
shops, those quizzes are very direct. It's literally just like a few questions and then here's a product, buy now. Whereas for coaches and course creators, it's much more of a slow roll. You kind of have a longer quiz, you have longer results. It's not as immediately like, okay, buy this thing now, because it's not just buying a bag of coffee beans. You're investing in your future, you're investing in coaching, that kind of stuff. So those are two distinct use cases, but it's the same product. So one way to use a quiz is to figure out which use case is right for somebody. And then another way, like you mentioned, is to figure out like what level somebody's at or which solution they need if you do have multiple products, right? Like if we were to also do things like giveaways, or we had other lead magnet builders, then we might tell people which is the best lead magnet and then lead them to different products. And in coaching, that's super common, right? Like you have different packages or different levels or different, you know, tracks that you can put people on depending on what they need.
Yeah, when you were talking about products, what instantly popped into my head, because I do have direct sellers that listen to this podcast. So I'm thinking about your business, everyone out there, where you have different product lines, and let's say you sell skincare as one of your product lines, and you've got maybe a couple different skincare combinations based on different skin types. You could do a quiz to like find out your skin type, and then at the end of that, based on their results, you push them like one particular set of products versus another particular set. So that's a really cool way how you can leverage it for a product-based business for sure. Love that idea. I'm glad you mentioned that. For sure. So at what point would you say in someone's business they should be starting to think about incorporating or using a quiz to do lead generation?
Yeah, so we actually have a very particular definition of this because all of our go to market, all of our marketing goes after a certain profile of company. And the point at which a quiz can be very useful is right at the point where you have, give or take, 500 people a month, so 500 unique people coming to check out your work, whether that's on social media or on your blog, your website, inbound, organic or paid, but in a way that's sustainable to you. Like you're not spending more than you're making, and you're able to do that repeatably, because what usually happens at that point is that becomes the point where it's no longer viable for you to try to talk to everybody that's interested in checking out your work. You just don't have time. And also, you'd be wasting a lot of your time because not all 500 of those people are going to be right fits. So then the quiz basically just replaces you as the front line. Whereas before, you wanted everybody to talk to you, do an inquiry call, as many as possible. But those inquiry calls start to become formulaic. You start to ask the same questions to figure out, how should you use my product and service? How should you, proceed with us? So the quiz just kind of becomes that front line. And then in e-commerce, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, as you start to scale like that, your product line probably starts to expand. You have more offers, and it no longer becomes practical just to say, here's the product, buy it. Maybe you have 10 products now. So now you use the quiz, like you said, to give people a bundle of products specifically for them. So that's the point. It's like if there's 500 people a month either interacting with you on socials or looking at your site, that's pretty much the trigger point that we've seen. And we've been doing this for 11 years now. So we've kind of dialed that in exactly. Prior to that, you can try, but the problem there is you probably haven't completely figured out all your ideal customer profiles and your offers and your services. And if you set up a quiz before you do that, then you're going to have to go back and redo everything, which gets frustrating and it's not
Hmm.
necessarily worth the investment. So if that's the point you're at, you're probably feeling that pain of like, I just cannot actually talk to all these people anymore. And that sucks because if I could, I know I could grow my business, but I can't. So you're at this point where it's just like, you're just out of
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, okay. So thinking about the intention of the quiz, how are you going to use it? What's the return on your investment? And you're seeing that like kind of 500 visitors is bringing enough people in to get the results. And then I like that tip of maybe don't launch a quiz right when you're getting your business started. Get your feet wet. I always say with action comes clarity. So maybe take some action in your business first. Start playing around with the different avatars that you're thinking about to really pinpoint, okay, I really like working with this avatar because listen, the truth is that we all start with an avatar and then it shifts. Like there's just no way around it because you realize, or you just get more clear on the aspects that you really want to work with. So I love that tip about maybe it's not your very first lead magnet because you might shift. Now, the only reason I could see why maybe it could, like where it could work is if you are doing like a very specific product profile where like, but you would know your avatar, they want skincare, right? But then you're using it very particularly for products. So that's really, really insightful to help people, I think, kind of know, is this the time where I should be thinking about joining or adding a quiz into my lead strategy. Well, I love this. This has been excellent. I want to give you the opportunity to share about something really special that's coming up. I know for you, actually, by the time this airs, this will actually be live. So, y'all, I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but I am incredibly excited. So, feel free. By the time this airs, I will have played around a little bit with it. So, again, if you're watching on YouTube and you have questions, maybe I'll even create a YouTube video on my experience kind of working with it. But share with us this big announcement that you have. So I know you've been working on it for a very long time.
Yeah, this is super exciting to me because quick backstory, like I said, this is year 11. For the first 9 years prior to last year, there was always this really frustrating problem for us where people will get very excited about quiz. You listen to a show like ours right now, you're like, oh, this is amazing. You log in and you're faced with this form where it's like, I gotta write questions, I gotta write results, I have to figure out how their questions go to the results, I gotta figure out the right title. And then it's just blank page syndrome, leave and never come back. And when I say never, I mean never. Like we've had
Mhm.
people that signed up in 2014 and maybe they're ready to come back now because it's just so overwhelming that you just don't want to think about it for 8 years.
Yeah.
And when ChatGPT dropped and AI came on the scene, I went in there and I told it, uh, I guess it takes a very long time to figure out how to tell it things, but once
Right.
you figure out how to tell it things, I told it exactly what I told you today. And once I figured out how to dial that in and make it repeatable, it understands what I just said. And so now we built an AI quiz maker where you just put in your website URL, it reads all of your content. So everything is based on you. It's not coming up with random, robot gibberish. It's learning your brand, your offers, your products. It creates all the outcomes. It creates all the questions to figure out which outcome is right for somebody. Creates all the logic that figures out which outcome someone should get based on their answers to the questions. It builds an optimized quiz title. And what we did was we took all the learnings that we've had from a decade of doing this. We didn't use any customer data. We just used our intuition and our knowledge. And we built these massive spreadsheets of basically like Mad Libs. If you remember those,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you
Plug
fill
in
in
the
the
little
words.
answer. Yeah.
Now the AI takes your content, fills in a Mad Lib that we created, and gives you a completely optimized quiz, which obviously then you go in and like tweak it and make it your own. But all that happens on average in 120 seconds, 2 minutes.
Wow.
And it's really incredible. The feedback on the test use cases, we've done about 2,500 tests through the AI quiz maker already prior to like this public launch. It's just been blowing people's minds. It blows my mind, honestly, because after 10 years almost of working with people directly and
Mhm.
feeling that frustration of like, gosh, this is difficult. Like, it's such a different modality of thinking. It's so frustrating when you're excited to do a quiz, but then it's just
Mhm.
like, how do I rate
Yeah.
this question?
Yeah, full transparency, y'all. I hired someone to make my quiz because I was like, look, we have a lot of other things going on in the business, and I wanted a pretty robust quiz. I wanted pretty robust like cards at the end, landing pages that kind of really walked them through all of this stuff and an email funnel that went with it. We had intention and strategy behind it. And I was like, I don't have the time to do that. And I'm not like the quiz expert or I'm not the personalities expert. And so I hired someone who is the expert in that area to make sure that our money wasn't wasted in launching this quiz. But not everyone has the ability to do that. And so I am super excited about this. Y'all listening, I love saving time. I love working more efficiently. I am learning to really kind of dive into AI and see how we can leverage it to build our businesses bigger, better, faster. And so I just love that you are tying AI into this to give you a quiz literally in minutes. So that's really exciting. So I'm excited to dive in and play with that and experience it. a lot more when it comes out. So this is really, really exciting. And yeah, I mean, the overwhelm of trying something new. I know my listeners out there, it's like when there's something new, when it's new technology, when it's, this whole new thing you have to build, it can be overwhelming. And what do we do when we're overwhelmed? We just shut down. And so the ability to be able to put your website in and just have it create this is magical. So I'm thinking all of our clients that have been through Build a Blissful Business, you've all gotten your website set up with us. You're leaning in with that intention and that strategy that we teach you. You're going to have a killer website to be able to just put the URL and have it give you information. For those of you out there that I haven't seen your website, I know there's a lot of websites that are not great. They're not really speaking to your ideal person. They're just look like a personal ad for you. You probably need to do a little work on your website before it's going to actually make a really magical quiz for you. I would assume. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But I know our students that have worked with us on websites, you're going to have be setting yourself up for success, whether you've gone through a program or used our templates with all the copywriting, because you're pulling the copy from there, right? And then using that as knowledge to generate this. So having a website, a good website, is really important for this. So that's my shameless plug. Y'all,
No,
if your
it's
website
meant,
is not up to par, that is
yeah.
where we help you, because we want this to be effortless for you and for you to actually attract your dream customers and to actually find results with the tools that you're using. So the last thing I want you to do is create a quiz that doesn't convert anybody and doesn't help you sell more products and doesn't teach you anything about your audience. So it sounds like it starts with the website, and then the quiz AI generator is just going to create it in seconds, which is so powerful.
Yeah, 100%. It's meant to just be a partner with you and folks that are teaching people how to develop those customer profiles, build out those websites. So, yeah, that's exactly how it's meant to work. You go through your course, you get that site set up, you start to build some traffic and that kind of stuff. And then it's just going to translate your site into a quiz.
Okay, this feels like an appropriate time to take a real pause here and remind you that the doors to Build a Blissful Business are open right now, but only for a limited time. If you need a website for your business, or you know your website needs work to attract your ideal customers, maybe you aren't getting the traffic you want or you aren't selling from your website, then it's time to check out Build a Blissful Business. It is the only program you will need to set up the foundation of your business the right way to actually grow your business into a 6- and 7-figure business. And the program is going to help you get clarity on your offer or learn how to position your offer if you already have one, so people can't say no to buying it. It's also going to help you set up your automated funnel so you can sell while you sleep, and teach you exactly what to write, how to write the copy for your website, and how to design. We're even teaching you all of the strategy behind it so you can take those skills in copywriting and design and use them for every piece of content that you create moving forward, whether it's social media or emails. There is so much more inside this program. So if you are ready to create that website and that business to attract the right person and get them to take action, go check out Build a Blissful Business. Just go to www.buildablissfulbusiness.com to learn more.
I mean, GPT is a generative pre-trained transformer. And transformer is basically like a translator on steroids. And
Mhm.
so it was made to actually take something like a website and convert it to a quiz. And we just tuned it to do that really effectively. But yes, you have to have that dialed in first. So it's a 1-2. And that's how our tool is meant to partner with you, like
Yeah.
as the coach and the trainer teaching people how to make amazing websites with great copy. Then once you've done that hard work, boom, just translate it over.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, we have lots of people that are at that stage, that are ready to take their website and create a quiz. So y'all, I'm super excited. I will drop links for you to explore this and check this out below the video on YouTube in the description, and of course in the show notes. I will leave that as well. Josh, any other lasting words that you want to leave? Any words of wisdom for our newfound quiz makers out there?
I think, one of the things that comes up a lot with AI is people get a little ahead of themselves. I'm the same way sometimes too. And you think, oh, it's going to change everything. But I think the point that you brought up is really relevant, which is it really does come down to how well are you conveying the value that you provide, how well are you speaking to the people that you help, and those things are not going to be changed by AI. You're still going to have to talk to your clients. You're going to have to understand what they need, understand what their life looks like, what they care about, who they are. And I think that's the really humanizing element of all this. Then the AI can just like speed up your workflow and save you
Mhm.
time on the back end. But I think it's always going to be invaluable to really sit with and listen to your customers and understand what they actually need.
Perfect. I love that. Josh, where can we find y'all and learn more?
Yeah, the AI is on our website. It will be when this show comes out. So tryinteract.com. There's going to be a banner at the top for trying out that AI. You can actually do it for free. Build out a quiz. You got to pay to launch it and whatnot, but you can actually see what it looks like for free, which is really cool. And then if you want to connect with me directly, you can look me up on LinkedIn. I have a very unique last name, so you'll find me if you have any direct questions.
Great. I love it. I love the business strategy. I'm like paying attention to what you're doing for your business strategy and how you're bringing in leads. So I just love it. Y'all are doing a great job. Thank you for coming on the podcast, and I can't wait to play around and just send my people your way to play around. So that's it for today, everyone. Have an amazing week, and just remember to go out there and take some imperfect action. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.